Well, hey everybody, John Ritlin here, and this is Unpopular Wrestling Opinion, episode 23. I'm here today to talk about the NXT brands. Not being as must-see as they used to be, especially the OG NXT, which could be a shirt, except I would be copyrighted into oblivion if I tried to make that a shirt. Though, knowing WWE, if they tried to make it, it would be some of the worst designs possible. Good God, why does their shirt design department phone it the fuck in so much? But that aside, the NXT brands are very fun to watch. There are some good to great matches from week to week. But there are also times where it's in NXT UK, I'm not going to say it gets a pass. I will be talking about that one just a little bit. But that one's only been going for about 7-8 months. And while good, TakeOver Blackpool was fun. The women's division, still needs to be built up a little bit, even though there's some really, really good talents and some ones they can develop. The men's roster is kind of where the issue lies because there's some good talents, some name talents and everything. But by and large, I have not watched a full episode of NXT UK in a while. Now, I watch what I can. I try to watch the women's matches and always enjoy the women's matches, even if they're only, about 3-4 minutes. They should be longer. But when it comes to NXT UK, I just don't feel a pull to watch it. Now, we do have a British Strong Style shirt. You can probably see that right back there. I didn't get to meet Pete Dunne, but I got to meet Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. And both were super nice. Really, really cool. Great guys. And really, really, really great to see in the ring. This was in progress in a local promotion named Defy Northwest. Did a co-promotion like over 2 days. I was only able to go the second day, myself and the Durbinator. But the whole point is, I can appreciate the NXT UK talent. There's a whole lot of really, really good talent there. The problem is, it's not mass appeal. I don't know how the NXT UK brand does overall on network numbers. I know it does better than 205 Live, but then again, replays of some pay-per-views do better than 205 Live, and that's not knocking 205 Live. And I covered that in a whole nother thing, but the 205 Live, I would be surprised if it makes it through the end of the year. With NXT UK, they just need to develop more and draw more people in and everything, and maybe they need to stop. They need to tape stuff, in accordance and everything, and maybe layer the shows a little bit better. They have some good authority figure stuff, and they have some good teams, but something just isn't quite working. It's not quite boiling like it should be. It's not getting to where they have flashes of brilliance. There are times like where the women are delivering some great performances. Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's had some good performances there against other women. Jenny has come along pretty well. Isla Dawn, I know, is not everybody's cup of tea. I like her. I think she's pretty good. And others, Killer Kelly, who has been featured on there, I personally love. I think she's going to be great. And then the men's. I like Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams. I think they're a good team. I don't really give two shits about, Gallus. I just don't. The Coffee Brothers are good, so's Wolfgang, but just something about it just doesn't quite appeal to me. I enjoy it when I watch it, but it's not like, I have to go out of my way to watch it, because I used to do that until around WrestleMania, or I think it was like about a month before WrestleMania. I just stopped watching it live, or, when it was first broadcast on the network. And if that makes me sound like a bad fan, I'm not trying to sound like a bad fan. If you guys tune in for it every week, that's great. Because NXT UK is fun. It's just not great, as far as it's not as great as they originally hyped. Now, maybe it's just going to, they're laying the groundwork and everything, and they got to get, certain people out of the way, and they got to establish a whole bunch of people, because it's hard to build a brand from the ground up. But the thing is, guys like Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Volta, they brought Volta in. Toni Storm is somebody that had a name. Rhea Ripley is somebody that had developed her own great persona. There are others that I'm sure I'm totally missing on the names, but most of them, I don't know how appealing NXT UK is to the masses. Please let me know in the comments if you guys love NXT UK or if you just watch it just out of habit. Because it got to a point where I was just watching out of habit, and I'm like, why am I watching this? I'm going to watch it when I really want to watch it. I do encourage people to give it a shot and watch it, as it is good, but it's too much wrestling, and that's a big problem. It's just too much wrestling. But now let's go to the main focus point. That's NXT. NXT has too many talents. WWE in particular has too many talents. I did one about the entire bloated roster WWE has. So I'm going to focus on NXT specifically. NXT is just, it doesn't have the same pop to it. Yes, there's a whole bunch of people that they called up. That happens with every single WrestleMania season or every 6 months and stuff like that. They have to retool, reload, and all that. And now I'm going to talk about the women's division. The women's division, I'm sorry, has been, not for a fault of the talents. The women are all working hard. The women's division has been complete shit for like 2 years. Like, it just has. Or at least last year and a half. I mean, because after Asuka left, they had Scorched Earth, and yeah, you got Shayna Baszler as champion, but now they're just trying anything to find a freaking spark, and there's some great athletes there. Candice LeRae, Vanessa Bourne's coming along very well. I mean, I love her. Aaliyah has improved. Finally, it kind of took a while for to get something out of her, but she's doing good. But again, Candice, you got Io Shirai, you got various others there. You got so many women. I mean, Duke and Shafir are not any good. I'm sorry. They just aren't very good, and they drag pretty much every segment that they're in totally fucking down. Shayna has improved and has actually won me over. Maybe not so much on promos, but in the ring, she has. There are plenty of women that are really, really good there. They probably should have kept Nikki Cross there, because at this point they aren't doing anything with her either. And plenty of women, there are some women I'm missing. I'm very, very sorry if I miss that. And of course, at NXT UK, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Piper Niven. She is somebody that could do really good things for them. And also Casey Catanzaro. She is someone that is, great athlete. Her and Ricochet, by the way, are, and I mean, I hate to sound, really, out of touch. They are couples goals. Are a couple goals. Why? Because they get along so well and they just really are adorable. But seriously, I mean, best of luck to them. They're going to produce incredibly athletic children if they ever get to that point, in their relationship. But with Casey, she is somebody that they can push really far. The women's division has just not gotten a whole lot of love since Asuka left. It's gotten even less love in the last year. And I just don't fucking get it. Because you got women in the Performance Center, you got women that you're signing, and you're not doing anything with them. Rhea should not be in NXT UK anymore. Bring her back to NXT. Have her be the one to take the title from Shayna Baszler, if nothing more. I mean, just something. I mean, granted, it would be weird to see Rhea kind of as a babyface, but she could win it in the name of NXT and then just suddenly turn back heel, and you could have another monster heel right there. Somebody who I think is better than Shayna in the ring, even though Shayna has a very safe style and is good. I think Rhea's better, and that's my opinion. But there are so many women. The women seem to all be fighting for screen time, and sometimes they don't even have matches. That isn't the way to go. Yes, there are other times where you got women that are great in the ring and, just aren't given a shot, and then they give more time to Duke and Shafir to fuck things up. But at least they're trying new things. And they're trying to build stuff with the women. It just seems very stagnant. Like, the women's division has been incredibly stagnant in NXT since Asuka. Even with Asuka as champion, it was pretty goddamn stagnant. Which is unfortunate for me to say, because I love Asuka. I think Asuka's tremendous. I think Asuka is a wonderful wrestler. And, yeah, enchanting and everything. And good God, is she, marriage material. I know she's married and she's got kids. I'm just saying. I love Asuka. I do. But ever since, even when she, towards the tail end of her championship run, things were starting to stagnate, and then they really stagnated, and now it's just gotten worse. Because the women aren't getting as much love as they should. Now, there are, the performances are what they are. But the TakeOver matches ever since TakeOver Brooklyn 3, Asuka versus Ember 2, Electric Boogaloo. One of these days I'll stop saying that after 2. Electric Boogaloo, god damn it, it's like a tick now. And no, not spoon, not that. I don't know what this is. I don't have a spoon in my goddamn hand. Wait! Spoon. I can't make it bend like the Matrix, and I'm disappointed. So anyway, I really shouldn't do videos while I'm tired. So the main focal point of this part of the rant is just they need to rebuild the women's division. You need to get the title off of Shayna. You need to just bring some women up from the Performance Center, or women that you have signed that you aren't using. Utilize your women. I'm not saying throw out all 14 or whatever the fuck women it is that you have on the roster at any given time, but fucking Christ. use some women, have women from, you know, SmackDown and Raw, have like, I mean, Dana Brooke making it, well, Dana Brooke's currently doing something, but have Alicia Fox make an appearance in NXT, have Mickie James make an appearance in NXT, have just women do that stuff where you actually could get some benefit, and you actually, could utilize your main roster women to get your, you know, new women or newer women more over, and, you know, have them do what Natty did in 2014. An incredible run that she had, and a great match she had with Charlotte to establish the new NXT Women's Champion after Paige had to vacate the title. You got to utilize your women, and if you just leave your women being stagnant, it's just not going to fucking work. It's just not, and people are just going to laugh at it, and they're going, we don't care. And the takeover matches have not been that good, even through no fault of the women working hard. I mean, Ember had to move up to the main roster, and thankfully seems to be doing okay now. But now we move on to the rest of the NXT brand. They can't keep signing all these indie stars, because all it's going to do is keep people in the Performance Center from being able to get called up on the road, onto TV, in anything other than a jobber role. Like Cesar Bononi, Adrian Jode, Humberto Carrillo is one of the few, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, is one of the few that actually seems to be working out well, and I think he is very good. I think he's going to be great. He's great on 205 Live. It's great in NXT. One team in particular I wish they would focus even more on is Burch and Lorcan. Those two are hard-hitting, tough sons of bitches, and I think really should get an NXT title run. I mean, they could do well in the main roster. You put them on SmackDown, you tell me they would not spice up the division already. And I'm not saying take them out of NXT. I don't know if they both want to do the traveling, though I know Lorcan is on 205 Live. But Lorcan and Burch could absolutely tear it up on SmackDown Live, because Fox wants more sports oriented stuff. Fuck, I can't even talk. Put Lorcan and Burch on there is the whole point. They could spice up that tag division. Because currently you only have the B team, oh fuck no. So, yeah. NXT though, I mean, take a look at their tag division. You know, you got the Viking Raider Experience thing, and I'm aware of the NXT spoilers. Please do not put them here in the comments before all this stuff has been allowed to air. But after they won the tag titles and everything, then they got called up and they got called the Viking Experience. Now they're the Viking Raiders, thankfully. That's not much better, but it's better. So, you know, those titles are in a state of flux. And when they were in a state of flux a few years ago and then had really good teams establish them as, you know, long-reigning champions, Blake and Murphy were pretty good. Then he gave them to the Vaudevillains, and then he gave them to the Revival, and then the Revival gave them to American Alpha. American Alpha back to the Revival, then DIY, then AOP. AOP had them for a while. Sanity won, then Undisputed Era, which, by the way, is led by Adam Cole. And even though I can't hear you guys, I'm sure at least one or two of you did that. So, yeah. The tag division does have some issues, though. Because one thing you can't do is you can't have champions for just such a short amount of time and then leave the belts to stagnate. Or you can't have champions for a long time and not give them good feuds, because then the belts stagnate. Not everything needs to be a 5-star match or a 30-minute classic or any of this kind of stuff. But if you don't invest in enough teams and enough abilities, you know, for your audience to invest into them, like, you know, promos and video packages and this kind of stuff, if you don't give the audience a reason to invest, they're going to care about the champion. So they care about the championship being defended. Oh, it's a title match. I wonder what's going to happen. But if they don't give a shit about the two teams, one of the teams or both, it's not going to help matters. The tag title matches have actually been pretty goddamn good. My issue is the NXT Tag Team Championship has not been defended at either of the two War Games matches. That's something they need to get away from. They need to have the tag team titles on, you know, in a separate match. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be factions or shouldn't be this kind of stuff, and not every championship needs to be defended on a takeover, but that does kind of, you know, go against what they're doing with, you know, like making the championship important. You have to have a championship defended more often than not. Sometimes it's defended on TV, and that's great. Sometimes those matches are good, sometimes they're shit. And then you get to the North American title. Now, I want this to succeed. It's one of the best looking titles that WWE has. And that North American Championship can work. I mean, you had Adam Cole. You had, I have to do that. I have to pause every time. Ricochet, and then Johnny Gargano won it, and then dropped it right to Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream could be the one to really take that championship back up. And nothing against Gargano, he just held it for so little time. North American Championship, I don't want it to end up like the European title where it just ends up being kind of forgotten about. NXT more often than not gets things right. They got things right with their World Championship. They didn't hot potato it too much. Except in 2016 with Joe and Nakamura, and I didn't really like that. That wasn't very good. And then, then Drew got injured and Andrade beat him, and that was what it was. It was actually a really good match. I'm just saying, it was what it was. But then, just something needs to pop with the title. Ciampa was able to do that, and then, Gargano won the vacant title. More often than not, the NXT title has been treated like a fucking world championship, and that's great. But going back to the whole thing about talent, WWE needs to stop hoarding all these indie stars. Yes, it's great to bring in these indie stars and say, hey, look, we've got the best indie stars in the world and everything. We got all this stuff. But the problem is if you get such a bloated roster that you're paying all this goddamn money to, and you got people in the Performance Center that can maybe get on house shows but can't really be used all that much otherwise, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to leave. And you can't be having that because you can't create frustration and everything there. And then it just feels like every time they get a shiny new toy, they forget about ones. Like, it's not almost like Cassius Ohno because he's like, oh, you got your shiny new toys and everything and you forgot about me. I get saying all these stars, but it's like even ones like, it's a good thing the Undisputed Era are together because otherwise it would be Adam Cole be Roderick Strong, and O'Reilly's good and Bobby Fish is good, but O'Reilly and Fish would probably be forgotten about, even though O'Reilly and Fish are incredible workers. Roddy, even by himself, might be forgotten about, despite how good he is in the ring. Adam Cole is clearly the star. The War Raiders, and I'm still going to call them that, were forgotten about pretty much from the moment they got signed and for a while. Now, yes, when they got shown they were beating people, they were doing all this and everything, and that's great. But for a while, they were just forgotten about. And then when they were finally starting to appear, it actually made more sense. But just to me, having them there, I don't know. It just felt like it took too long for them to really start using them. And then it just too many times they will sign so many people and then they'll realize, oh shit, we only have an hour's worth of TV and we got to feature them here. And yeah, we can feature stuff on the YouTube channel or the WWE Performance Center YouTube channel. But a lot of people, if they're only watching the NXT TV, they're not going to know who the fuck these guys are if we just, or, who the fuck these women are if we're just, showing them like once every, 2 months. And that's the problem with NXT. They're signing so many people. They're bringing in so many people. They're using so many indie stars. Some that are working well, some that aren't. Kushida, I'm excited. I'm also nervous for. Because I think they're going to be, he'll do well. Maybe he'll be North American champion at some point, but he will be on 205 Live and be fucking purgatory. And not that Kushida isn't good. Not that a lot of people on 205 Live aren't good, but that's basically purgatory right now. I haven't watched full episode of 205 Live in a while because simply I don't have time. But with NXT, people need to understand, if we're going to be honest about it, if we're going to, just totally take off our blinders and everything and not have tunnel vision with NXT, TakeOver Phoenix was one of the first times where cracks were really starting to show. Now, while TakeOver New York was very, very good, the current TV has not been as good as in, months or years past. Are there still good matches? Buddy Murphy versus Velveteen Dream was very, very good. You had Gargano and Roderick Strong. It was very good. The women's matches, when they're featured, they're actually allowed to go out there for more than like 3 fucking minutes, can deliver some great performances. But otherwise, a lot of it's just quick stuff. And yes, you got some promos and stuff like that to hype up matches, and you have that going on, and that's great. But so many are forgotten about. Like, I'm just going to call him Donovan Dijak because it's better than Dominic Dijakovic, only because it's an easier name to say. But Dijak is one, they've had him sign for 2 years? And I forgot that he was even with the company. And he's an incredible athlete. Keith Lee is somebody that they signed. They gave a few wins to. They lost, and I don't know. It just seems like they forgot about him. Even though at times he's still featured. Matt Riddle's still featured pretty damn well. But I don't think he's very long for NXT. I think by SummerSlam he will be called up. And in fact, if Brock is still around, I would say have Riddle versus Brock and have Riddle retire Brock next year. Please do something. I don't know. There are just there's plenty of potential with NXT still to rebuild and revamp and everything. But some of their titles, let's be honest, the women's title is not meant all that much. The tag titles are kind of stagnant. North American titles, good. NXT titles featured as the best. I'm not saying every title needs to be on equal footing. But if you present these championships as something that people legit need to fight for, and then you just kind of like totally cut the legs out from everybody that's competing for them, what does that say? What does that say about the fans that are investing in this stuff? And also, what does that say about the fans that are going to invest? Like, oh, we see these guys and they're just jobbers and everything, and they're jobbers constantly, and then they're featured on TV and they get a win, and you're just like, okay, why the fuck is that guy getting a win? Like, what the fuck is this about? They need to be careful with what they're doing, because otherwise they're going to breed more contempt. People are going to leave because there are other options out there, and WWE is going to have an issue. And it's not even, it does go to the bloated roster thing, but NXT is not the end all be all. It is WWE creating their own territory, their own developmental territory, their own indie promotion, if you will. But it is backfiring on them, because people are realizing, I don't need to sign with NXT, or I don't need to sign with WWE and this kind of stuff. And with all the money they're spending, yes, they're flush with cash, the USA, the Fox deal and all that and everything, and NXT may even become a part of the Fox deal, become the third hour of SmackDown, who the fuck knows. It may get on network TV, which would be pretty interesting. But that's also going to knock down some network buys, because NXT is a major selling point, even though some people can get it on Hulu the next day or so. But if they're not careful with NXT, it's a double-edged sword, and they're going to get cut with both ends, and they're going to be left holding a bag that's had the bottom cut out from under it, and all the money spilled out. It's all on the floor, or it's all sinking down into the ground, because all they did was piss away a whole bunch of stuff. Is that a great analogy? No, I don't know what the fuck it means. But with WWE, I want NXT to succeed. I want the main roster to succeed. I want everybody in that company to succeed. Even the ones I don't like. I want the company to be successful. But NXT is a good stopping point. But with the fact that it wastes so much money compared to what it draws in, if NXT doesn't start A, turning a profit, or B, creating stars for the future, and they've created a few. Lacey Evans is somebody that had experience, in the indies, but still has worked but has, basically been built herself from the ground up, essentially, in WWE. Same with Bianca and a few others. But WWE signing all these indie stars, it's going to end up costing them if they don't invest in the future. And I'm not talking investing in more indie stars. They signed Shane Strickland, who is tremendous. I've seen him wrestle multiple times. Super nice guy, and he's going to work well. But pretty soon, they're going to need to hold off on signing the indie talents and focus on what they got in the Performance Center, because otherwise, what the fuck's the Performance Center even doing there? So anyway, that's all I have to say. So agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.